many pages did you just do?
Is it twist?
2 or 3?
Let me check. Is it twist? I'm thinking something.
What is number 8? Spin or turn? What word means to spin or turn?
I'm going to the back. That was 7 pages.
You did 7 pages? Okay, you can stop. Wiggle. Close. Twist. What day is today?
It is Sunday.
It's Sunday. It's November 5th. It's about 7:30. And
Mom and Jasmine doesn't want
they
us
are
growing up.
okay. She doesn't want you to grow up.
Yeah, she wants us to spend.
So you just did 7 pages of that. So I need to let me see your book. So you actually just did enough for the next 2, 4, 6, 3 days. You almost finished.
Trick, I'm gonna kiss her.
White drink. What is white drink? Come on now.
Milk.
All right. I was working on lesson plan for this week because I have not done it. They came in and therefore they are actually working on tomorrow's work.
When we went to the store, we saw this kind of water there.
Okay. Because, yeah. What's the last one? What is paper money called? Paper money. I almost told you the answer.
This plate.
Nope. Instead of coins, you have what's the word for paper money?
Rebecca Rabbit. Rebecca
A dollar.
Spy Kids. Yeah, you're Rebecca from Spy Kids.
Dollar.
Bill.
Very good.
Eat this.
So, yeah, it's loud. And this is really supposed to be quick.
This is good.
Read the poem. Look for the short I sound. Write the words with short I. Those are also your spelling words. All right, so somebody was doing handwriting. Somebody else was doing handwriting. And I'm going to move it over to what I was doing real quick. Very good.
I mean L-O-J.
I like how you remembered that period. Right, so this page is so dark over here. Let's see what I'm getting ready to do. Reading. He was doing reading. So once it's done, I go ahead with a green highlighter and highlight it. And that way I don't have to wonder if they did it, but yeah. And this is the only way I can seriously stick to a plan. I don't want to say fell off, but I didn't put anything down last month. I just kind of went, but it makes things a little more scattered because I'm telling them to get the books. It's pretty much a follow the page. So I don't have to write it down, but it's like, what page are you on? Open your book. They're asking what page, and it just makes things crazy. So I like to write it down. But everybody has their own assignment sheet. That's the only way I can keep track. And it makes things a lot easier this way. And I can just keep up. So that's done. And I don't have to worry. He actually has 2 more days. And so I may let him do these 2 days tomorrow, and then he'll be done for the week. And then he may do spelling the same way. He's trying to finish the book, so I'm just going to let him finish the book. because it's almost finished. And that's just how they work. If they want to do a chapter a day, 2 chapters a day, I just let them do it so that they can, because I know they're understanding it. And we actually have a, we are in, we've been in Texas for a long time. A very long time. We're going to be in Texas. But let me show you guys what we're doing. Let's see, where did I put these pages? Something I had pulled off a while ago. We have been studying the state and doing different things in the state as part of our entering the country. And we're getting ready to do a little mini unit study. And I say mini because there's so much that needs to be covered, and by us living in the state of Texas, we are required to teach good citizenship. And so part of that is not just learning the state and, you know, just basic facts and things like that, but people. And I have a graphic organizer of Stephen F. Austin and George Washington here. So we're finally going to do this and incorporate this, and we're going to move into something else. And I don't know if I want to make that separate to help other Texas homeschoolers out. I think I may make a separate video on it, just because it is, again, good citizenship, and everybody is always trying to, they either use Bible for good citizenship or not really understand, because it doesn't really specify. I mean, some of it is social studies and, you know, things like that, but it's a broad spectrum. They don't really go further than that. But we do have help, if you know. And so I'm just trying to help those that don't really know that there is a great resource out there that does help us in the state kind of navigate in that good citizenship subject. So a little bit of information, and then here's the organizer here. So I'm probably going to let each one of them do, oh my goodness, they are loud, one of these, and here's this one, and here is some these are just little cards to put in a pocket chart or something. So it's a brief little bio that's going to tell them about the two and explain, and they know pretty much. Stephen F. Austin, of course, where we live is named for Stephen F. Austin. And what else have we done? They know little bits about the you know, the war, the Alamo. We did go to the Alamo, and how these people, certain people. So we are going to cover those people again. Davy Crockett. Who else? I'm trying to think. It's quite a few people. So it's kind of, it's pretty big. And then we are going to, I'm going to try to do that in the next couple days, just to get this part out of the way. So that they can understand he was the father of Texas, and kind of put 2 and 2 together from the Alamo and things like that. And then we'll go into the, what do you call that? The, I just said I was going to make a separate video on it. The government part of Texas. I feel that even though we don't really partake of government, I feel that that is a part, at least in this state, at least know how the state is run. I think that is important enough for them. Later on, we'll get into, you know, a little more, because I do that with the high schoolers. Okay? These kids have me wired. I let them understand, and they do assignments and things pertaining to our government, city, state, all of that. So we'll move into that, but I thought this would be a good place to start with them, since we are cantering the country in Texas and have been for the last month or so. Just different little aspects. Hold on. This book, it just gives some brief facts in here that talks about each state. A lot of interesting things. Dr. Pepper Museum, which they don't know about, but my older kids and I have traveled to Dr. Pepper Museum many times, because it's on the way out of the state once we go visit family. So that's interesting. King Ranch, we've been pretty much everywhere. Space Center, just all sorts of things. I've talked to them about a part of Texas being closer to California than it actually is to Dallas. That is another interesting fact. The older kids really enjoyed, and they know where it is, okay? El Paso is closer to Needles, because we used to live in California and we had to go through Needles in the desert to get to where we were going. So El Paso is closer to Needles, California than it is to Dallas, Texas. That's how big Texas is. What else? And then, like I said, here it talks about the Alamo, which we've already been, and it gives us in here geography of the Rio Grande. So they're going to pretty much, they know about the Rio Grande. They're going to label the Rio Grande on their map. That's something that they have not done. Jim Bowie is another one. Stephen Austin, like I said, rodeos, LBJ, George Bush. Who else am I thinking of? Somebody I knew of a long time ago. Walter Cronkite. Walter Cronkite. My goodness. Yeah. So we'll cover that. Lady Bird Johnson. And I think I still have some pictures that my mom took when we will go to Lady Bird Johnson Wildflower Center. The older kids and I. It's a really pretty place. So I'll probably pull those out to show them. But geography, history, biographies in this book. I'm trying to think what else is in here. There's science in here. Pecan trees, mammals, bluebonnets. So we've done some activities for that. They're doing something now, but they did today about tornadoes. And then there's some literature in here. Now it does suggest Oh Yeller. We do have the movie, so we're probably going to watch Oh Yeller this week. And probably just split it up over a couple of days. And that is literature, and then language arts. They are going to write a story about the Alamo, since we did visit. Tornadoes, we're talking briefly about tornadoes and hurricanes, like I said. And then there's also characters of the state in here. Talks about friendship. And yes, that was the first thing I would tell people when we first moved here 20 years ago, that this was the friendliest state. I had no idea, but it was very friendly. There's a pledge, and then here's some activities. These are included in the disc, and this is what they were working on off the CD. And their map that they labeled. They actually have 2 separate maps, and then they have a flag. And let me show you something else real quick. A little activity, reading the map activity. They're going to use different colors to do certain things. So I thought that would be a quick little fact page. And all of this is going into there. We use the spiral notebooks, which is why you saw spiral notebooks in the School supply haul, I had to get some more for the state because we had not started the states. We had already, we're still working on the countries because the countries is something we build on every year. So we've just been adding, even though we covered the countries, we keep adding to it. And I set that up as a virtual co-op, so there are other families also doing that with us, this one. And it's just so cool because every year, you know, we just cycle back into it and learn some new things, and they're able to understand more things. So it's really cool. And this is kind of going to be done the same way. We just started hitting up the states this year because I wanted them to be able to really understand, really be able to write, really be able to absorb what we were doing, especially in the states since we live in the states. There's that. And I'm trying to see if there's anything else on that. No, it's just going to be, like I said, they're going to write their little, you know, report or, you know, what they learned at the Alamo and things like that. And that'll be it for that part. Not really too much more that I want to get into on that. At this time, we're going to move out because we have covered a couple of other states because we are also covering, we're focusing on the Underground Railroad. So we've also been to Louisiana and we've been to Maryland. We've been up to Canada. We're still working on Canada. I'm going to bring us out of Canada so we can move somewhere else because I wanted them to know pretty much where the, yeah, and I just went from Texas to the railroad. I wanted them to know where things started because we were learning about Harriet Tubman, abolitionists. We're still there. It's just so much to cover, and where it ended. And then we're going to go back and cover points in between. So, yeah, lots and lots of unit studies. Country study. I'm going to throw this in because the book is here. And I just feel like I can get this out of the way so I don't have to explain so much later on. We are in going back through Italy. And I have my cards here. And they're actually meant to be flashcards, but I didn't want to break everything up. So we have so many flashcards, y'all. I really... I just didn't feel like breaking them up. And they like looking at them like this because we do different things with them. And they're easy to manipulate if they're flat. But, yeah. And we did some things. We were in France again and we did some things. I don't think I've shared I might throw in the little art that they did for France. Some pictures at the end. If I can remember. There's that. Palace of Versailles. We're hitting up Vatican City while we're here. Pompeii. And here's some stuff. I think we're going to Germany next. So we'll probably spend a little time there. I'm not going to go through all of those. Well, since I've shown inside, but basically in here, some of the stuff I use in here, some of the stuff I don't. I have my own. But for those that are in the virtual co-op, a lot of times they will just use, because the first thing I say is get the book. You need the book in order to do a co-op. If you don't have anything else, get the book. And the other resources are separate from the book. You don't need everything in the book to do the co-op. I have found other resources so that, you know, if you don't have it, but you do need the book. So here's that. And then it just gives you some facts. Again, the history and the biographies, the general references. It'll give you literature. So we have read, you know, many of these stories. I also, if you don't have these, I have alternatives that you can find. You can print off on your own, so you don't have to have these, but you actually need this book. So There's that. And then Roman Catholic Church, all that sort. It also, I think for science, is talking about space. And so solar system, which they love. And I've held off on that, so I'm lumping that in here. This is a doodle on the map, so they're going to draw themselves on the map, the moon. It's Sunday night, y'all. And yeah, language arts. It says you can dictate a report on one of the famous people studied in Italy. You can make a layered book of the solar system. And then it tells you what page to look on in this book. Science gives you resources to use for science. Going to be studying the creation and really, you know, the planets and things like that. And then it tells you color your flags and things like that. And the cool thing about this is you don't have to do each and every activity. You don't have to check off every box. That is how I made this work so long, because you don't have to do everything. It's a lot, and we actually go through a couple of countries a week, so for the most part. Sometimes we don't. And then you have your make an Italian meal, eat your way around. Get your Bible portion of this this study. Like I said, this book is unit studies. That's all it is. It's unit studies on countries, unit studies on states, and they're small, so you don't have to cover every single thing for the duration. I feel like I'm missing something. I pull out different things at different times. We may, like in the geography portion of that Texas map, they were labeling the Rio Grande. This time around, we are identifying different landforms, even though we started out that way, but they're actually they have learned, so they will label those on the map. I give them a separate map because this one actually does not really do that. This is kind of like their cover map for their interactive notebook, but they have one that they're actually able to label. And usually in the science part, just a minute, it'll tell them to
Did you say yes?
oh, here it is right here, label the Adriatic, the seas.
Yes.
Just a minute. So that is what we will go through and identify those things, you know, just different places.
So
there we go. And so our meal, we're actually getting ready to have our meal tonight. Italian meal. But yeah, that's pretty much how the week is going for this portion, and then the rest of everything else that we're doing. So pretty full week. We have, what else left? Bible, science, and we do science separate from this because we're studying animals. This portion with answers in Genesis. I'm sorry, I had brain freeze, but this is just one little portion because we pretty much kind of covered it. It's not really that much. So that is the reason why I go ahead and use science in addition to this. And it's, you know, this is astronomy. We're doing animals. Even though we have astronomy curriculum, it is for upper. We're using that for another year. We're doing animals this part of the year, and then the next part in January, I will share another curriculum. What we turn over, we're doing human body. Okay. So somebody thinks they're getting ready to get some popcorn, which not. Other than that, that is our week, and it goes by pretty quickly. once we get the ball rolling, and you know, if we have to stop or break, or you know, just kind of change things up, if I see that things are not going the way they should, then we hold off. We have our read alouds.
Did you say yes?
And that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. I don't know if we're doing any crafts this week. I will include some things that we did. Some pictures. I will include some pictures. We've been working on art projects, and I sometimes will remember to put them in, and sometimes it'll be later. Sorry, guys. But I forget. So I will include, because I actually took some pictures this morning, and when I upload them, they're going to be uploaded with this footage. So I'll make sure to include them. It had nothing to do with any holidays. It's about being thankful. So, yeah. I know there is a theme behind it, but it's pretty much, you know, like I said, it's about being thankful. It has to do more with our Bible than it has to do with what it looks like. The harvest, that's what we're talking about. We're working our way through another brain freeze. Exodus. And things like that. So yeah, but anyhow, I thought I would just kind of give a little update. I know it's kind of long, but that's how it is.